Georgia has 4 verified Stranger Things filming locations within a 60-mile radius of Atlanta. Most fans blow $200 hitting themed cafes that have zero connection to the show. Here's the speedrun route that unlocks Benny's Burgers, downtown Hawkins, Enzo's date night location, and the ruins of Starcourt Mall for under $150 total. No tourist traps. Just the real locations where 11 ate fries, Joyce worked the register, and Hopper got stood up. Here's your complete quest log. Let's spawn in. First checkpoint is just west of Atlanta in Lithia Springs. Looks harmless from orbit, until you realize who owns the kitchen. Level 1, Benny's Burgers. In real life, this is Tiffany's kitchen. A fully operational diner that looks exactly like the place where Benny Hammond fed Eleven her first real meal in episode 1. This is your tutorial level. It's accessible, recognizable, and teaches you the core mechanic of this entire speedrun. Authentic locations don't charge tourist prices. Here's the exploit most guides miss. You don't need to drop $20 to unlock this checkpoint. The 2-egg breakfast costs $4.99. That's your entry fee. You're inside the actual location, sitting at the same counter where Eleven learned what kindness tastes like for less than $5. But if you want the canonical experience, the immersion buff, order the hamburger for $6.99. Same sesame seed bun, same crinkle cut fries. This is the exact meal from the show, and it costs less than a combo at any chain restaurant. The timing meta is critical here. Tiffany's opens at 6 a.m., which means you can hit this checkpoint first thing in the morning when traffic is light. But there's a hard time gate. The diner is closed on Mondays. Do not attempt this quest on a Monday. You'll encounter a locked server and waste the entire run. The atmosphere here is pure small-town Americana. Chrome napkin holders, vinyl booths, that glass case with the pies. Every detail stayed intact because this wasn't a set. It's a real diner that happened to get drawn into the show's universe. Total damage for this checkpoint. $7.50 if you grab coffee with those eggs. $12 if you go full 11 mode with the burger. Running total starts low, exactly how a speedrun should. Burger acquired, stamina restored. Now we need to hit the town for supplies. Fast traveling 50 miles southeast to Jackson, or as Joyce Byers calls it, work. Buckle up, this loading screen takes about an hour. Welcome to downtown Hawkins. Jackson, Georgia is where they filmed Melvald's General Store, Joyce's workplace, plus the library exterior and that iconic alleyway where Steve and Jonathan threw down in season 1. Here's the critical intel that could save your entire run. Jackson Drug, the building that served as Melvald's, is not a restaurant. If you search online, you'll find menu listings for a Jackson Drug, featuring $24 smash burgers and huckleberry shakes. Wrong Jackson. That menu is for Jackson Hole, Wyoming, literally on the other side of the country, 1,700 miles away. The Georgia location is just a pharmacy. No gourmet burgers, no soda fountain, just prescriptions and Band-Aids. This is actually perfect for the budget build because Jackson becomes a pure loot run. Every activity here costs $0. You're walking the square, photographing the Melvald's facade, finding the library, and tracking down that brick alleyway. It's a self-guided tour through the most recognizable parts of Hawkins, and your only expense is the fuel it took to get here. The vibe is eerie. These aren't recreations or theme park versions. They're just normal southern small-town buildings that happen to become part of the upside-down mythology. The courthouse, the brick storefronts, the quiet streets. You're standing in the exact frame where the Demogorgon lurked. And if you want the full Joyce Byers experience, hit up any local hardware store in the square and grab a string of Christmas lights. You know, for communicating with the other side. shouldn't run you more than $5, and it's the kind of souvenir that actually matters. Jackson sits about an hour south of Atlanta, roughly 80 miles round trip from the metro area. That's another $8 to $10 in gas. But in terms of the experience per dollar ratio, this checkpoint is S tier. High narrative value, zero admission cost, and you just role-played an entire Season 1 subplot for pocket change. The strategy here, don't plan a meal stop. Save your appetite and your budget for what comes next. Supplies acquired, morale restored. Now we leave the safety of the small town for the danger zone. Before we warp to the final boss, quick inventory check. If you're getting value from this route, hit that subscribe button. We're building an entire library of fandom speedruns, and you don't want to miss the next drop. Warping north to Duluth. It's time for the Battle of Starcourt. Danger zone detected. Gwinnett Place Mall in Duluth is the final boss of this tour. In Season 3, this location was transformed into Starcourt Mall, the neon-soaked centerpiece of the entire season. The food court, Scoops Ahoy, the atrium where the Mind Flayer threw down. This was peak 80s consumer paradise. But here's the reality check for 2026. Starcourt is gone. The set was dismantled after filming, and the mall itself is now in the middle of a massive redevelopment project. Apparently, fighting interdimensional monsters isn't covered by the building's insurance policy because the county's tearing the whole thing down. Macy's closed in March of 2025. Sears was purchased by the county for $11.5 million in October of 2025. The interior is completely restricted. No public access. Security is active. This isn't a functioning mall you can explore. It's a construction zone. So the mission pivots. You're not touring Starcourt. This becomes an exterior reconnaissance run. Drive the perimeter. View the anchor store facades that appeared in the show's background shots. Document what's left before the bulldozers erase the last physical traces of 1985. This is a limited time event. The county's Global Villages project is actively demolishing the site. In another year, this checkpoint might be completely removed from the map. The urgency is real. Go now or lose the location forever. The good news for your budget meter. There's no entry fee because there's no entry. This checkpoint costs $0 beyond the fuel it took to reach Duluth. But the emotional payoff is significant. You're standing at the site where the Battle of Starcourt happened, even if the mall itself is now a ghost. The Mind Flayer may have lost, but the real estate developers won. We survived the Mind Flayer. Time for the victory meal, warping just 10 minutes southwest to Norcross. Hopper's waiting at the table. Let's not leave him hanging this time. Health restored. Welcome to Enzo's. Dominick's Italian in historic Norcross is the emotional core of this entire tour. In the show, this restaurant stands in for the place where Joyce and Hopper planned their Season 4 date, and where Hopper sat alone waiting for Joyce in Season 3. For anyone invested in the Jopper storyline, this location hits different. Unlike the casual diner vibe of Benny's, Enzo's represents a tier upgrade. Dark wood, candlelight, white tablecloths. This is the date Hopper never got to finish, and you're here to complete the mission. Now here's where the meta gets interesting. Dominick's is a family-style Italian spot, which means the portions are designed for sharing. A full order of baked ziti runs $30. A half order, which still feeds 1 to 2 people, is $18. The lasagna follows the same pricing, 32 full, 19 half. But the real exploit is the Tuesday special. Every Tuesday, Dominick's offers a $20 dinner deal. That's your target window. If you can sync your speedrun to hit Norcross on a Tuesday, you're getting the full Enzo's immersion for the price of a chain restaurant meal. This single timing hack drops a premium location from the whale tier down to completionist or even speedrunner territory. They also run a Monday special, half-price bottles of wine with 2 entrees. But that's strictly for the whale tier unless you're co-op running this tour with a partner to split costs. The garlic bread with cheese is $8 and functions as efficient calorie filler. The calamari fritti appetizer is $15, but the cost per bite ratio makes it more of a luxury pick. Total damage for this checkpoint. If you time it right and hit that Tuesday deal, you're walking out for around $30 including a drink. If you go off schedule, budget $50 to $75 for a proper sit-down meal. The proximity is perfect. Norcross and Duluth are basically neighbors. You knocked out the mall reconnaissance, now you're 10 minutes away from finishing the date that never happened. That's efficient quest design. Let's break down the 3-tier system based on everything we just covered. Tier 1, the speedrunner. Target budget under $150. You're hitting Tiffany's for that $4.99 egg breakfast exploit. Jackson is free loot. Maybe grab those Christmas lights for $5. You skip the premium Enzo's experience or you time it perfectly for that Tuesday $20 special. Gwinnett Place is a perimeter drive. Gas for the entire loop, about 100 miles total, runs around $12. If you're doing this as a day trip from Atlanta, you're clearing the entire campaign for under $80 before lodging. Add a budget motel for $60, and you're at $140. Mission complete. Tier 2, the completionist. Budget $150 to $300. You're ordering the canonical burger at Benny's for $7. You're sitting down at Enzo's, ideally on a Tuesday, for that $30 narrative meal. Jackson's still free. You're adding some souvenir budget, maybe $40 for a Stranger Things shirt or local craft. Gas and mid-range parking bring you to $30 total for transport. A decent hotel in the Norcross area runs about $120. Total $238. Balanced build, all the key story beats unlocked. Tier 3, the whale. Budget $300 and up. You're going full hopper at Enzo's. Wine bottle, full pasta portions, the works. That's $75 right there. You're hitting Tiffany's for the steak and eggs at $15. You're enabling fast travel via rideshare. Uber from Lithia Springs to Norcross to Jackson could run you $180 in fares. You're buying collectibles. Premium hotel in Duluth or Atlanta adds another $200. You're clearing $580 plus, but you're playing on easy mode with zero friction. The meta is clear. Time your run for a Tuesday, drive yourself instead of ride sharing, and focus spending on the narrative checkpoints. That's how you turn a $300 tourist trap into a sub-200 strategic victory. So here's your complete quest guide. All 4 locations are searchable on Google Maps. Tiffany's Kitchen, Jackson Town Square, Gwinnett Place Mall, Dominick's Italian. The coordinates, budget breakdowns for all 3 tiers, and timing hacks are all linked in the description below. Subscribe for more fandom speedruns on a budget. Real locations, real prices, no tourist traps. Remember to eat strategically, play the route, and explore the real locations.